Okay, having taken care of doing graphing using the calculator and using some of the calculator functions to find some of our key components, what we're going to do now is we're going to do some graphing by hand. Now, anytime we're doing graphing by hand, you're looking for one of a couple things. You, of course, are going to use the leading term test. So if we have something like negative 2x to the fourth plus 3x cubed equals 0, our leading term test tells us that it is negative, meaning it's going to be down. Okay, we have x to the fourth, so we have the fourth power, means we have an even function. So we know it's going to somehow look like this, where we have down, down, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle in the middle. Now, the question is how many wiggles, how many zeros, etc. If we're looking here, we want to figure out where does it cross the x-axis. Easiest way to find that, of course, is to simply factor. So if I have negative 2x to the fourth plus 3x cubed equals 0, take out an x cubed by factoring it out. That leaves negative 2x plus 3 equals 0. Now, you remember once it's factored, you simply set each piece equal to 0. So I get x equals 0, or x equals 3 halves. So, with that, we know we're going to be touching the x-axis here, and we know we're going to be touching the x-axis at 1.5. So if that's 1, that's 2, that's going to be 1.5 right there. We know it's going to come up from here, we know it's going to come up from here. So the question is, what does it do in the meantime? Well, with a fourth power graph, you know that it could have up to 3 turning points. You also know it can have just a few mins and maxes. So, with that, we're going to come up somewhere through here. Now, one good step would be just to try to couple different points. But really at this point, if you were to draw this, that would be basically close enough. Until you get to calculus, you won't be able to for sure see how many turning points something does or doesn't have. But everybody should be able to find the zeros. Everybody should be able to find the leading term test. Is it positive? Is it negative? What's the power on it? And go from there. Now, what they're suggesting in the book is that you find a couple other points. That's fine. My thought is let's use a little technology here. So we're going to grab the calculator and plug in our equations. So let's clear what we had because we don't need any of that anymore. Let's go with negative 2x to the fourth plus 3x cubed, and then get ready to graph it. As we can see, we got something going on here. Let's zoom in, which is option number 2. Hit enter one more time. And we're not too bad. We're not too bad. It comes up from this end, so the end behavior is down in both directions. But this seems to come up, level off, and kind of bump up and down. So that's our best bet on this equation. That is our best bet on this equation. Now, sometimes we don't have quite the same situation because in this case we only had 2 solutions out of a possible 4. What you had here was you had x cubed equals 0, which means you really had 0, 0, 0, and 3 halves. So you had a 0 was a solution but of multiplicity 3 because it happened 3 times. Let's take a look at a little different equation. In this case, this one we already have some help with because somebody has given it to us factored. You're welcome. In this case, we know it's going to be a what power equation by simply saying if we were to multiply this through, you would come up with something x to the fourth plus on and on and on. and it's positive, 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 so we know it's going to be positive. So leading term test says positive and even, so it's going to be up. Now, we can find our zeros. Well, the nice thing is with it factored already, you have x equals 0, x minus 4 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. So we can find all our zeros in a hurry. X equals 0, x equals 4, x equals negative 1, x equals 2. So 1, negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, and 4. Now, we know that it is up, so it has to come from here, has to come from here. So down, up, down, up. And again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 possible zeros, 1, 2, 3 turning points, and somewhere in the ballpark, that's our equation. 1 second. All right, homework for this section. Page 323, 3 to 45, multiples 3. Follow the steps again they mentioned on 317. So turn that in later.